So from this figure we have got a complete idea about the electrodeposition process. Okay. Here it is a molten NaCl, that means the electrolyte is NaCl. Molten means it is in liquid form. So when the current is flowing through this, then NaCl is divided into two categories of ions. That means one is positive and another one is negative. So here NaCl is split up to two ions, that is Na plus and Cl minus. So Cl minus is 2 Cl minus gives Cl2 plus 2 free electrons, that is it releases chlorine gas, and hence at cathode side also Na plus it accepts one electron and becomes Na. So this is the chemical process, how it works. Okay. The principle of electrodeposition is given in the above figure. A salt solution is taken inside the container. That container is known as electrolytic bath. Okay. Two electrodes are dipped into electrolyte solution, that is NaCl solution. So the positive and negative electrode are connected to battery as shown in the above figure. Now the NaCl solution is broken into two ions, that means it is divided into two ions. I have already said it. Okay. That is, one is Na plus and another one is Cl minus. The negative ions, that is the Cl minus, they are attracted towards anode, and the positive one, that is Na plus, they are attracted towards cathode. Then that electrolytic process is NaCl that gives Na plus plus Cl minus. Okay. So here this relationship is a result of Faraday's law of electrolysis. So what is this? Faraday's law of electrolysis. So first we will study about Faraday's first law. What is that? The statement is, this law states that the mass of a substance deposited or liberated at any electrode is directly proportional to the amount of charge passed. That means from his experiment he deduced two laws. One is Faraday's first law, another one is Faraday's second law. In first law he said that the mass of the substance deposited or liberated, deposited at cathode or liberated from anode, that is directly proportional to the rate of flow of electrons, that is the amount of charge passed. So it is mathematically represented as W is equal to ZIT. That means M is directly proportional to Q. M or Z, both are the mass of substance deposited or liberated in gram. So when W is directly proportional to Q, and we know that Q is equal to IT, then W is equal to ZIT. Z is your proportionality constant. So mathematically W is equal to ZIT, where I is the amount of current flows through electrolyte in ampere, then T is the time taken, the duration in second, and W or M, it is the mass of the substance deposited or liberated in gram. Q is the quantity of electricity in coulomb, and Z is known as the proportionality constant. So Faraday's first law is W is equal to ZIT. Okay. So this is the formula, and 1 Faraday is equal to 96485 coulomb. Remember that. Then Faraday's second law. as we have already discussed that Faraday deduced two fundamental laws which govern the phenomena of electrolysis. So, in Faraday's first law, we have studied Z is equal to, W is equal to ZIT, and in second law, what it says, the statement is when same quantity of electricity is passed through different electrolytes, the masses of different ions liberated at the electrodes are directly proportional to their chemical equivalence. That means what it says, let me simplify it to you. When same quantity of electricity passed through different electrolytes, in Faraday's first law, there is a single electrolyte. Okay, but here it says if different electrolytes are there, then the masses of different ions that are liberated at the electrodes, they are directly proportional to their chemical equivalence. Okay, so what do you mean by chemical equivalence? Chemical equivalence is the atomic weight divided by valency. Okay, so from the statement of Faraday's second law, here it says W1 divided by W2 is equal to E1 by E2. So, as we have already studied, W is equal to ZIT. So, instead of W, we can write Z1IT divided by Z2IT is equal to E1 by E2. Hence, Z1 by Z2 is equal to E1 by E2. Here it shows, in this picture, it shows diluted H2SO4. Diluted in the sense it contains water. Okay. So it has three electrolytes. Different electrolytes means it has three electrolytes. One is diluted H2SO4, another one is CuSO4, and the third one is AgNO3. These are the three electrolytes. Okay. Then it comes current efficiency and energy efficiency. So in current efficiency, what it says, the current efficiency is the ratio of actual mass of the substance liberated from an electrolyte by the passage of current to the theoretical mass liberated. That means actual mass of a substance divided by theoretical mass. Okay. The current efficiency is also known as Faradic efficiency or Coulombic efficiency. We can say it current efficiency, we can say it Faradic efficiency, and we also can say it Coulombic efficiency. All three are same. Then energy efficiency. On the account of secondary reactions, the voltage actually requires for the deposition or liberation of metal higher than the theoretical value, which increases the actual energy required. Okay, so what it says again, on the account of secondary reactions, the voltage actually requires for the deposition or liberation of metal higher than the theoretical value, which increases the actual energy required. That is known as energy efficiency. Okay. Then what is electroplating? As previously we have discussed its definition, now we will discuss its purposes. So, electroplating is one of the important processes in electronic industries. The original purpose of electroplating process is to enhance the value of metal articles by improving their appearance. That means what it says, as we know, electroplating is a part of electrolysis process or electrolytic process or electrochemical process. It is also an important process in electronic industries. In electronic industries, it is vastly used. Okay, so its original purpose is to enhance the value of metal by improving their appearance. Okay, so